Are you wondering how long it actually takes to buy a home? Like, what's the actual timeline? We're gonna talk about that today. Thank you for coming to my channel today. My name is Diana Cifuentes, your favorite realtor with the Decker Group at Keller Williams Beach Cities. And today I want to talk about the timeline that it takes for a home buyer to actually purchase a home. Everything from, you actually getting the idea to purchase a home to the actual getting your keys and becoming a homeowner, whether this is your first time or second time. Most likely first time, because if you're a second or third time home buyer, you kind of already know the idea and the process that it takes, so you know what you're doing. Well, today, timeline for buying a home. How long does it actually take? It could depend on a lot of things. It could depend on how long it's going to take you to get qualified, how long it's going to take you to actually feel ready, or how long it's going to take you to actually find the home. So all those things could change the actual time limit or the timeline of you buying a home. But the actual escrow process takes about 30 to 45 days, and I'm gonna go into that. So 4 parts. First part is going to be the idea phase. This is your idea phase, and number 2 is going to be your hiring stage, and number 3 is going to be your pre-approval process, your pre-approval stage, and then number 4 is going to be escrow process. Okay. So first, your idea phase. This is when you start actually thinking to yourself, maybe I should buy a home, or maybe I should buy a house, or I wonder if I could afford to buy a home. This is where you start doing like low-key research. You don't really reach out to anyone or anything like that, or a professional. The idea phase is when you probably ask your parents, or you ask like some family friends or some family members. Maybe you start Googling some stuff on how to purchase a home, how long it takes, your down payment, your closing costs. This is when you're getting the idea of actually becoming a homeowner. You might even go and look at open houses when there was open houses, because right now there's not really many, but you're probably going out and looking at open houses or doing virtual tours. This is when you'll meet a realtor, but you probably won't be too interested in having a conversation, because you're kind of just getting your feet wet. You're not ready to make the commitment yet. You're just kind of thinking about what it would take for you to be able to actually purchase a home, and how long it's gonna take, how ready you feel. I always tell my clients, or other realtors that I mentor or anything like that, a client has to be ready, willing, and able. And ready means that you, like, in your core, you're like, I need to buy a home. You're not there in the idea phase. In the idea phase, you're just kind of like, someday that's the plan, or like someday that's the goal. I mean, me personally, I don't recommend for your goal to be to buy a home. I feel that buying real estate should be a vehicle to get you to your goals, because in all reality, you want to buy a home as soon as possible and buy it when you feel ready, you know. And I could do another video of why I feel that you need to buy as soon as possible. But yeah, this is your idea phase. You're not 100% there yet, but you're kind of. So in your hiring stage, you are, remember what I said, ready, willing, and able. In your hiring stage, you're kind of more like in the willing stage, because now you're willing, you're ready emotionally, and now you're willing. So you want to take the next necessary step to make sure that you buy a home. And this is where you will either pick a lender or a realtor. Now, in almost all locations, you will find your realtor first. Mostly in all occasions, you'll find a realtor first, but you might find a lender first. So it just depends on your situation. But 80% of people find a realtor first. And the reason why you find a realtor first is because, you probably have more real estate questions than lending questions, And once you go out and you meet a realtor, make sure that you hire the right realtor, and it doesn't matter. Like, I always tell my clients, like, if we work together, awesome. I want to help you, but if for whatever reason you're not feeling me, or then go ahead and find someone that you're comfortable with, because this is a long process. You want to make sure that you're comfortable with your realtor. So, or maybe you're not in the area, and you want to make sure that you get in the area that you buy in, and I'm not in that area. So make sure that you interview agents before you actually make a decision. That way that you're comfortable, and you're comfortable. That's most important. But two, the realtor that you pick is going to give you the information and guide you properly, so that you could be able to purchase a home at the end of the day, and also not be left in a situation where you're in escrow and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know all of this was gonna happen. So make sure that you pick a realtor that, one, you're comfortable with, and also they're going to guide you and teach you and give you the knowledge that you need to be able to purchase a home. Most likely, if you do find your realtor, the realtor will recommend a lender for you to use. I mean, you are allowed to find your own lender if you have a bank that you prefer, or you already have been pre-approved before. So it's okay. Or maybe your job offers, loan qualifications for a home. So it all depends. You might already find a lender, but if your realtor does refer you a lender, the realtor's not referring you a lender because they get an incentive of you working with that lender. They are referring you that lender because through their experience, they have been able to work with this lender and help their clients be able to purchase a home. So they already have this relationship with the lender, a business or friendship relationship with a lender. They've already have experience with this lender and be able to, go from point A to point Z in purchasing a home. And, they trust that this lender is going to make sure to get the job done and do it correctly. So that's the main reason why a realtor will recommend a lender, or for you to use one of their lenders. It's not because of an incentive. It's just because, they have had this experience with this lender, and they know that this lender is going to get the job done. And then not only that, but this lender is going to be more inclined to going above and beyond for you, because, this realtor is, sending them clients. So if this realtor keeps sending them clients, the lender doesn't want to lose that business relationship. They want to make sure that they still have this business relationship with the realtor. So they will make sure to help you, help you through the transaction, go above and beyond for you, make sure that you're happy and well taken care of. So that's the hiring stage. This is when you're ready. Once you have hired someone, it might take you one or a couple, but once you have hired someone, then you're going to go into your pre-approval process. Okay, so this process is really important because this is where you're going to get mostly all your questions answered. I don't know about all realtors, but what I could tell you that I do and my lenders do is we make sure that we have a buyer's consultation. You know, we either do it when we meet in person to do our pre-approval, or we'll do it at, you know, before when Starbucks was open, we would do it at a Starbucks, or we'll even do like a virtual call or even a conference call where I just tell you, hey, pull out a piece of paper and we need to go over these numbers. It's important. And we'll go over this, you know. So your pre-approval process, you'll most likely get a buyer's consultation. Not all realtors do it. I don't know why realtors don't do it, but I feel that it's very important because, I mean, I have the experience to know what the questions are going to be that you're going to ask, you know, during escrow. Most of them are the same, but some of them are different. You know, there will be that one or two questions that is like, you know, just based on your situation, but most questions are the normal ones. You know, what is my closing cost? What is my down payment? You know, what's my loan? You know, can I get help with closing costs, or can I get, you know, help with repair? So when you start your pre-approval process, you're going to need some requirements, you know, that you want to turn in. That way the lender and the realtor could give you exact down payment, exact closing costs, and exact payment. That way you have all the information, and you want to make sure you have that information before you pick a home, because if you're out there looking for a home, you have no idea how much the payment is going to be, how much the taxes are going to be, your down payment, your closing costs. So you don't want to shop like that, because you might fall in love with a house and then, you know, it's way out of your budget, or you qualify for something much better, you know. So you want to make sure that you start your pre-approval process. When you start your pre-approval process, the most typical items that you're going to need, it could change based on your information. So like if you have like bank statements, or you're self-employed or anything like that, it could change. But the most typical requirements, documents that you're gonna have to bring so that you are pre-approved are going to be last 2 years of taxes. Yes, you're going to need the last 2 years of taxes. You're also going to need 1 month of pay stubs. If you could bring 3 months, even better. That way the lender has a good track record of your income. And you're going to need bank statements, at least 3 months of bank statements. You could get away with 1 month bank statement, but eventually you're gonna have to give it to the lender once you're in escrow. So why not have it ready? So with that information, the lender is going to be able to give you a pre-approval based on what you're qualified for. And with that pre-approval, your realtor is gonna go out and help you find a home. So once you have this pre-approval, that's when you want to make sure that you ask all the questions that you have to your realtor. You know, if you have any questions for down payment, if there's any programs that you could qualify for, or if you know you could qualify if you can negotiate for any closing costs or any repairs or anything like that. Now, there is a video of mine, you could go see it, that goes into detail about down payment and closing costs. Make sure to go preview that so that you have more information of what kind of programs you could get under, so that you kind of have an idea of what your down payment and closing costs are going to be. Okay, so you're pre-approved, you have your realtor, you have your lender, you're ready to buy a home. What do you do now? What's the next step? So the next step is to actually go and look at homes. Before I go and look at homes with my clients, I always either have a phone call with them or meet with them in person, and I explain the process. I go into detail for their certain situation, and I go in regards to any negotiations that we could do for the sellers. Some of the negotiations that you could do is you could probably negotiate for some closing costs. Of course, that depends on the property and the seller. You also can negotiate for some repairs or inspections or anything like that. But it all depends on the area, and the reason why I say area is because some areas are really high in demand, and when those areas are high in demand, the outcome of you being able to negotiate some closing costs goes really low, because there's always a buyer that's willing to pay their closing costs. So you kind of have to look at it like that. If a seller receives your offer and they receive another offer, and you're asking for closing costs, repairs, and inspections, your offer kind of has all this liability. It has all this liability. So the seller kind of looks at it like, oh my God, I have to do A, B, and C so I could sell my property to them, when this person is willing to pay me full price, and they don't have any other liability for me. I'm gonna go with this buyer. So you kind of want to think about it like that. Of course, there is other ways that we could probably negotiate for you and your behalf. So you want to make sure that you ask those questions in the pre-approval process. So you go and you look at homes. The way that I set my clients up is I always send them houses, and I always tell them to pick like the top 10 properties so that we could go see them. So they're able to heart them, and when they heart them, I receive them, and I'm able to look at what they're looking for, and I learn what they're looking for. And I could also suggest other properties, because not all the time what you're looking online is going to be the actual reality of the property. The pictures could be really messed up, but then when you show up to the property, it's a beautiful home. Or the pictures might be glamorous, but when you show up, it's a total like, whoa, oh my God, what's going on? This doesn't look like the picture. So I always, go ahead and make sure that I do my homework as well for my clients, and I'm able to show them more than, what they think that they're only looking for, So another thing that I like to recommend to my clients is, when you're shopping, you want to focus on 3 things. It's going to be location, price, and condition, because these are the main 3 things when purchasing a home. Location, price, and condition. And I wish we could have it all. I mean, in a perfect world, you would have it all, but we do not live in a perfect world. So I always tell my clients, out of these 3, which one is the absolute one that if that doesn't get done, it's a total deal breaker? So is location a total deal breaker, or is price a total deal breaker, or is condition a total deal breaker? Because we don't live in a perfect world, and unless you're building your own home and it's a new construction, most homes are not gonna have everything on your list. They might not even have 10% of your list, because one, it's not a new home, unless you're purchasing a new home or a new construction home, or you're building your own home, then it's not a new home. And it's has had owners or tenants living in it before, they've made it themselves, and it's most likely going to have some wear and tear of the years of the property. So I always tell my clients, pick your number 1 and let's focus on the other one. If we could get 2 out of 3, or 3, if we could get 2 out of 3, damn, that's a home run. We did it. But if we get 3 out of 3, like, this is a unicorn. Like, we need to do it now. So pick your main one. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, you know, some people are very location sensitive, like, you know, maybe your job is like very high demanding, or, you know, you really want to be in the school zone for your kids. So location is probably the number one. So that means that you're most likely going to be flexible when it comes to price of the property. You know, you might be willing to, you know, pay more for the location that you want, or the condition. You know, if the location is amazing, you want that location, maybe you might be flexible with condition of the property. Maybe it doesn't have to be remodeled, you know, or maybe it doesn't have to, you know, look a certain style, you know. Or if price for you is very important, you know, because you want to make sure that this is your down payment and this is your closing cost and this is your monthly payment, you know, if all that is the number one thing that you need to make sure that you cross off your list, then you're most likely going to be flexible when it comes to location, you know. Or you might be flexible when it comes to condition of the property, you know. Maybe you're not looking for a newly remodeled home, or you're not looking for a property in you know, a certain location, you know. So make sure that you know what's most important, you know. And if it's condition that is the most important to you, meaning you want to make sure that you get a fairly new home, or you want it to be completely remodeled, you don't want to have any repairs or anything like that, then, you know, you might be a little flexible when it comes to price. You might have to be willing to pay more, your down payment or closing costs, or even payment of the property, even price of the property. Or you might, you know, be flexible when it comes to location, because what is most important is you making sure that you get a fully remodeled home, you know. So that's kind of how it works. Just keep that in mind when you're looking for a home. Is, you know, we don't live in a perfect world. Like, I mean, I always tell my clients, if it were up to me, I would find you that home, you know. I want to find that unicorn for you, but I'm not perfect, the homes are not perfect, and we're not in a perfect world. So the odds of that are very slim. And then you're gonna go into your escrow process. Yes, escrow process means that you have found the property that you love, you submitted an offer, the seller loved your offer, and you are opening escrow. Escrow is a third-party company that, you know, is there to represent the buyer and the seller. Okay, so you will, as a buyer, have your own agent, and the seller will have their own agent, unless, you know, you're being represented by one agent. That could happen as well, but escrow will always be there. Okay, so you're in escrow now. Of course, remember that if you want to go into really detail about escrow, make sure to watch my video in regards to escrow. If not, I'm just gonna give you like some highlights right now so that we could go ahead and know what's the escrow process in the timeline of buying a home. So you've opened escrow. Your first duty is going to be to deposit your direct deposit. That needs to be done within the first 3 days of you opening escrow. If it's not done within the first 3 days, then the seller is able to walk away and open escrow with someone else. And that usually gets put into your offer. Also take in consideration that this is already escrow process. So that means that you've already done your offer and you went through the offer with your realtor, because that's where you need to put, you know, your direct deposit, how much you're paying, your down payment, if you need any closing cost help or your inspections. You know, you want to make sure that you've done through your offer, because it also comes, you will also have your contingencies in your offer and the timeline for your contingencies. Let's just say that it's an average escrow. It should take around 30 to 40 days. Some lenders could do it for less time. I've done transactions for a lot less time, but in average situations, it will most likely take 30 to 40 days. Okay. So you're in escrow, you've done your direct deposit. What's next? Next is going to be your inspection periods. So you have 3 contingencies that are protecting you while you're in escrow. The first one is going to be your inspections contingencies, then it's going to be your appraisal contingencies, and then it's going to be your loan contingencies. Inspection contingencies means that you're going to inspect the whole property, the physical condition of the property, so that you could be aware of everything until you purchase a property. The inspection period is basically for you to know everything that you need to know of the property. So when the property is yours, you don't have any surprises. You know, you already knew about that, you know, damaged roof, or you already knew about the leak under the roof, under the foundation, or anything like that. You know, you don't have any surprises once the property is yours. I really recommend for all my clients to do a home inspection. Even if they tell me, oh no, I love the property, I'm gonna buy it, I'm like, do a home inspection. Because you can only see the outside. A home inspector is gonna come and really point out, you know, the little things that it's going to take of the property. Now, when you're doing your inspections and you're doing your, you know, your home inspection, don't get stressed out or overwhelmed when you're there with your inspector. If you decide to go, or you receive the report, you know, and it's like this 30-page report and you're like, oh my God, you know, don't get overwhelmed. I always tell my clients to focus on the big things, like the cosmetic repairs. Every home is gonna come with it, unless you're buying a fully remodeled home, new construction. If it's not those two, there are going to be repairs. There's going to be cosmetic repairs, you know. If we're in Southern California, most properties have termites, you know. This is just the reality of things, you know. I wish it wasn't, but it's the reality of things. So I always tell my clients, focus on the big things, you know. If there's no foundation issues, hooray. If there's no plumbing issues, hooray. If there's no electrical issues, hooray. If there's no what is it? I'm sorry, I kind of had like a brain freeze. Foundation, electrical, plumbing, and roof. If all these things are in good condition or okay condition, then I always say, man, we got a property. Okay, we got a property. All the other things, they are important. They are, but they're cosmetic repairs, you know. No matter what other property that you go to, the other property will probably have the same repairs or maybe different, you know, but still cosmetic, you know. So I tell my clients, don't focus on the little things, you know. Let's focus on the big things, the big picture, because these repairs are going to be the ones that are going to really make, you know, a difference in regards to your pocket, you know, because to fix these, then you're really gonna have to pay some money. I know what you're telling me. I know what you're thinking, trust me. But you're like, but Diana, 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, 100 here is going to total up. I understand. And I'm not telling you take the property, you know, as is. You could still negotiate. You know, that's one of your rights, is you could still negotiate. You can negotiate these repairs. Make sure, and I'll do a video where I could talk about how to negotiate for repairs. You could still negotiate, but that does not mean that the seller's going to approve your negotiations. It does not mean that. It's a gamble. They might say yes, no, or maybe so, you know. So if they say no, I'm just letting you know that, you know, don't take it as an, oh my God, I'm gonna quit this property and I'm gonna go to the next one, because you're most likely gonna have the same issues with the next one, because the properties aren't new. They're all going to need some stuff cosmetically, you know. So those are your inspections. Another thing that I recommend is, you know, if you're there, and the home inspectors are not contractors, you know, so it's not their job to tell you how much it's going to cost to fix it, how long is it still going to be good for, you know. Their job is just to inspect the property and tell you what's wrong with it. So if the home inspector tells you, oh, you know, you probably have 3 layers of roof, you should get a roofer up there, or the results that the inspector is giving you in regards to a repair, and it could be something else, maybe a gas or the sewer line or whatever, is not, you don't feel comfortable with their inspection, then get an additional inspection, maybe from someone that specializes in that repair, because this is the time where you want to do your inspections. You want to make sure that you're happy with the property. Then you have your appraisal contingencies. This is when I tell my clients that you can never overpay for a property. You literally can never overpay for a property unless you want to. But when you're getting financing, the bank is going to send an appraiser, and the appraiser is going to go out there and verify that what you are offering on the property is worth that. They want to secure their investment, so they're going to send someone to have a third party evaluation on the value of the property. Yes, still go and also make sure that it's up to code in regards to your loan financing and all that stuff, but their main purpose for going out is for checking value. So that's your appraisal. Then third is going to be your loan contingencies. Once you open escrow, you will hear a lot more from your lender. They're going to need more bank statements. You're going to need more pay stubs. They're going to need more information from you. You're going to have to be signing more information. Escrow is going to send you their escrow package, which will come with some title information that you're going to have to do as well. Make sure that you go over your disclosures with your agent or the lender. So during the process of when you open escrow, you'll be hearing a lot more from your lender. Then at first you were hearing a lot more from your realtor. Once you're in escrow, you hear less from your realtor and you hear more from your lender. Okay, so it kind of works like that. It balances itself out. So your loan contingency just means that the lender is going to make sure that you're fully approved for a loan. So at first you were just pre-approved. Now you're fully pre-approved for the loan. So the bank has approved your finances, approved everything, and they're willing to give you the money for the property. Why am I talking about these contingencies? Because during these contingencies, you want to make sure that you're happy, ready, and able to purchase this property. Because once these contingencies periods are over, which is usually 17 days, it's going to be harder for you to cancel and receive your money back. So that's the main thing of escrow. Once you've done your contingencies, then the next step is going to be your closing documents. You usually receive your closing documents like a week before closing. You'll also do a final inspection to make sure that you're happy with the property. After that, then you'll go ahead and fund, the day before recording. Well, this is in California. If you're somewhere else, then it's a different process. But here in California, we fund first. That means your bank is going to pay off the loan for the owner, and your down payment. You'll need your down payment, your closing costs at that time. You have to make sure that everything is in so that the bank could fund. Once the bank funds, then you go on to record. Recording is when the county goes ahead and changes the deed to your name. And once you record, that day the realtor is able to give you your keys, and that's the timeline of being able to purchase a home, from the idea phase to the actual closing date. If this was helpful for you, go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure to visit us. We post weekly real estate educational videos. We want to make sure that we keep you informed. If you have any questions, make sure to leave it in the comments so that I could go ahead and be able to answer your questions. And today's question is, what stage are you in? Are you in the idea stage, in the hiring stage, the pre-approval stage, or in the escrow stage? I'm always here to help. Please drop your comments and hope to see you soon. Thank you for coming. Bye.